welcome to this exciting video where you once again join us in the beautiful landscape of Scotland. Today we're joined by Highlander 87 and today we're actually heading to a piece of land to document a bit of history that we've never seen before on the channel, and it's actually an old abandoned croft called Todholes. And look, I don't know if the reflection actually, I don't know how well that comes out, if you can see it on there. I might actually include a picture of it in the video at some point, folks, but it's an old abandoned croft. And I could see it on the old map from like the 1700s, and it looks like nowadays it's fully abandoned. So we've come into the lands here. It's kind of between Todholes and Glen Clova, and the farm's called Todholes. The place I've parked at is all the old Cullow market stances, and that also shows on the old maps. But for years we've come up this glen documenting different things, and I never knew this little place existed. So today's adventure, we're punching down here, get boots on the ground and see a piece of history that we never had documented before. I think we need to go through this tree line up ahead and then cut to the right. We basically need to go over there. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's... Oh aye. Up behind us today, folks, early monuments actually on the hill, and that has featured recently. In the last video we could also see early monument on the far hill. And then round at that side, that's the Glen Prosen Road, is it? No. Oh no, that's actually Glen Moy at the far side, I should say. That's cool with Scotland. You've got all these different little roads, or different glens as they're called, and each one is just like a different country sometimes. The amount of history and stuff on display. See down at the water's edge at the far side, that's actually the old sawmill from the 1700s. And it would have been a water powered sawmill back in the day, but nowadays I believe it's actually a private residence. So, but it's, oh, there's a wee bit here. This is a perfect area. We can just cut down and then go to the right. So check it out here, folks. We've come out onto this ridge and we can now see the River South Esk at the bottom of the hill. And we've just basically been navigating through this tree line at the bottom of the area that you saw us at. Look, there's an area here we can cross. You can see where the sheep have been going through. There's sheep in the field as well, so it's perfect for us. I think it must be over down that way somewhere. Here, I'll look back at the picture and see if I can see how it looks from above. That's how we do it nowadays, folks. We've got the joy of modern aerial reconnaissance for these adventures, and any missions possible, especially this time of year. Yeah, this looks like the sheep have been running through here or chilling out on this bit of grass. Yeah, it must be over there somewhere. What a madness. This is an area we had never been. Look at it. So right in front of us, folks, the old Todholes Croft used to stand beyond these trees and down this hill. Wow. Yeah, I think we're alright. The land is well grazed. I love seeing history, folks, from all these different time periods, and each of these different little crofts like manage their own little piece of land, and over the years I like putting them on the map, and I've started recently. I'm going to include the actual proper name of each croft as I document them. So over the years you get a picture of how many individual crofts are almost forgotten from these lands. Today it's at the foot of Glen Clova here near Cullow Market, and it's called Todholes Croft, and it will be dating from the time like 1600s into the 1700s, and it was still there in 1888. So let's see today what's left. We've now got boots on the ground, and it's cool to come here and literally like imagine the old farmer or what's been going on, what layers of history is left here within the land. Obviously nowadays grazing lands, and look, we've made it down to the tree line. It actually drops down there quite sharply to the height of the croft. So this appears to be where the old croft used to actually be located, folks, and this would have been the road coming down potentially in here, or one of the roads going up to the field, and you can see the lie of the land here, how it's been levelled, probably for the horse and cart accessing in here. And the farm would have been a big area within this piece of land, so let's go and see if we can see remains of walls, or maybe even like where there's been water wheels or some sort of farm mill. See, I think this is a more modern track in than that one up there. because obviously these lands are still used for grazing. I can see that mound there, or that ridge. It's like there's definitely been things built there. From the original maps as well, there was a lot constructed here at this site. It was a full-on croft. This is so cool. I love being in areas like this on a sunny day. You feel the heat from the sun, it's just beautiful. Oh aye, what is that through the trees? It looks like there is a wall there, eh? Is that potentially then... Is it maybe further over? But look, there's definitely been stuff here. Wow, yeah, look, there's... Oh, here's a round... That'll have been the mill shed. Look, this is the round shed here where the horse would have walked round and round. And under our feet here would have been where the mill drive used to go in. Look at it, folks, you see the circular ridge which surrounds the area I'm standing, and then from here an animal would have driven the mill and a drive shaft would have gone in through under the ground here to this side. And within this area here, this is actually the old mill shed for this croft. And this is such a unique little place to put on video. We can actually see the scar of this history. Yeah, look, more buildings being here. Nowadays just grazing lands for the sheep. Yeah, look at it, the old stone construction, the footprint of this building. Todholes. And maybe it was called Todholes because it had these boggy kind of holes within its fields. Maybe originally it was called Todholes. So cool to theorise the history as we go. And look at this interesting outline. There's another building here, or it's a continuation of this one. Judging from like the old maps, there was another building over here. And I'm guessing there must have been the site of a cottage here somewhere. Potentially here. Or maybe further over. There's another ridge there like a building, and then one here. Yeah, that's so interesting to document the location of the mill. Just think this was a thriving, hustling, bustling farm at a certain time. A little family stayed here probably for like generations, and think of the noise coming out of that farm. Just think of maybe a farm around you that's a busy farm nowadays. Think in like 300 years, this may be how it looks. Somebody might be walking past it. Yeah, that must be the outer... the walkway around the farm building, and in here was maybe a bit of a farmyard or a lower bit, and then here there was buildings as well, or there was stuff going on in this area. The shadow's actually at a poor angle. I should be recording this direction. I think there is something there, but is it like a river defence? Oh aye, the river banking at the far side of the river south-esk is so eroded, it's just incredible there. It must be in a ferocious storm. The trees and stuff are getting washed down in. Look at the size of these trees as well. Most likely planted by the original Croft owners that lived here and called Todholes their house, their home. Yeah, look at it, this is a big oak tree. Or maybe it's not an oak tree actually, folks. I'll be getting into trouble for the comments. I think it's actually an ash tree. It's just not an ash tree, folks. So check it out, folks, you see the line in the ground here leading round past these trees, and this would have been an old boundary around the main hub of this farm. Just think, folks, these trees would have been planted maybe at the time of this farm when there were still buildings here. I wonder if there's been more like filled in. You think so? Aye. And it would have lined up, maybe the fields and stuff would have gone further originally. Yeah. Oh aye, there's maybe been an old drain coming out below. Whoa! There's maybe been an old area where the water's been drained out below the farm, and it's maybe washed this bit like that. The river south-esk is looking quite calm and picturesque today, but believe me folks, this river can get absolutely extreme. And maybe that's the reason that they thought it's a good idea to abandon this farm. They maybe built another one in the nearby area somewhere, maybe higher up at a higher level. That's so cool to see that. It's literally like the old faint outline of history. I'm going to look back at the picture once again to see if I can figure out where the actual farmhouse had been. So judging by the old map from back in the day, folks, it looks like the original farmhouse was actually over here. So let's take a look. It's like it's been a farmhouse and then it's had a little bit of a garden. It could have really been in any of this area here. It is unusual how it's so boggy. I would think that outer wall would actually lead us to it. There's so many spider webs in this grass, folks, but we're just punching on through to get the footage. Wow, yeah, look, it's like you can kind of see ridges in the land here. See the mad thing, folks, farms like this were obviously powered from the horse walking around, but other farms had water wheels. And on this channel we like uncovering the way that they were powered back in the day. So that's how it was cool to see that, how it had the round shed. Yeah, on the old map it's like around here. I was judging from this line of trees if there had been anything. I can feel spider webs like all over my hands. I'm thinking the house must have been here. It must be so far gone. Look, there's another ridge here leading along, and then it's like that would have been a track. That is interesting, folks. There's no much left of this place. That's why it is cool to show what is here. Whoa, pheasant. Yeah, that's why it's cool to show what is here, because obviously if this is how much is left now, in a few generations there'll be absolutely zero here. So it's cool just to document it and say that there was a house here with a little garden, and there was actually the main croft here. And you can imagine the mill shed. It wouldn't have been a little farm, it would have been a general kind of common sized farm croft of its time. Look, there has been a waterway coming past this place, probably deep and boggy. And then look in this area here, we've got the autumn fungus, some fly of garlic, I think that stuff's called. Look at that little miniature mushroom there. Some creature's been pulling it out of the ground by the look of it. Wow, yeah, what an amazing place this has been. It's cool to come to these sites and just think of the people maybe like walking around here on their day-to-day business, and they maybe were friends with the people at different crofts and some of these other glens that we've visited over the years, all abandoned and forgotten from such a long time ago. It's just super cool to think about, and to even mention the name Todholes Croft. It is almost forgotten from time. Modern maps won't show it because literally it's not here anymore. It's only here now in the memory of likes of these videos. And I think that is an ash tree, but I'm not sure. I think Scotland's got a lot of bother with their ash trees just now, like dying. Yeah, I wonder if these trees tell us a story of where the history had been of the house. Normally there's some kind of remains. Maybe they also had taken the stones away from here for a different purpose. Because sometimes stones were reclaimed and reused for more modern projects in areas like this. Oh look, right here, there's mad stones. Oh, that's the continuation of the boundary. Is there any sign at all of a house? This is just mad, folks, incredible. So the cool thing is, folks, judging from the old map, right at this spot here I would have been standing at the farmhouse, and the farmhouse garden actually used to go to the edge of that boggy section, which I think back in the day must have been boggy as well. And I reckon a lot of these ditches would have been built by the original people that set up their croft down here in this area. But that's cool to think, the old Todholes farmhouse used to stand here and overlook this land. I think you'd be quite fearful of the river rising if you lived here though, for sure. The river South Esk is unpredictable and extreme at times. The coolest thing we saw is the old shed, how it had been like horse powered, the old mill, and that shows that they would have had a bit of grain and whatever else out here. So cool. Another bit of Scottish farming history, almost forgotten, and we've managed to put it on the map, document it. So we're over doing more bits on the ground research, folks, before we leave this site. And look, we've sourced the corner here of what must have been the old house. Look, you can see it, it leads to here and then goes along there. Because earlier I says it's been like a road going round, and I didn't know at that moment I was actually on the corner of the old farmhouse. So we've actually been able to do it and piece together the full picture of this place. The only thing we've no seen that it might have had is a lime kiln. And I'm not sure, it would have maybe had a similar form to what we saw with the mill shed. but I'm still thinking that was definitely a mill shed. The way that the groove goes from the big circle in to the main shed, that shows it would have been the old mill shed of the day. But yeah, what a madness. We've seen so much cool stuff here today, folks, and documenting another bit of Scotland. Probably never been on YouTube. So it's been a big house.
Yeah.
If this is the other outer wall, to there, aye, that would be a general house from that time, because it was still there in the 1800s. And it's no actually that long ago. We've seen places abandoned for longer that have actually got more stuff left.
Yeah.
Considering this was still a farm in like 1800s, it's amazing to see this is all that's left. The rectangle of the house, and then maybe there's been a little shed or something here. That's so cool to see that though. Whoa.
We found it.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we found that. This has been the farmhouse here for Todholes. And there's been the mill shed, the farm yard, and then another shed over there. And then that's just special. What another madness, folks. And we've showed you this wee corner of Scotland as well. Look at the landscape we're in. We've never had this before on the channel. The old road used to actually weave its way down through the forest. You used to turn off after Dyke Head to the right, and then you would go down through the forest and then down. There's actually a ridge in the land leads right in here to that first little hollow that we saw. That's quite boggy there. This is the old ditch, I think, that the original farmers of Todholes had dug right along there, and then it'll join in with the river. It's interesting the groundworks and stuff they used to do at those ancient times for the control of like getting the water out, like draining the lands for the farming. And they must have had a fair bit of grain for the mill and things over the years. And just think of the generations of folks farming these lands, and then one day it all just fell silent. And from that day to this, it's just been sitting here getting covered up from nature until we've come along now and put it on the map and documented it. And that's the special thing with these videos. It's often like forgotten or unseen places, exclusive on this channel. Anyway, I'll end this one here, folks. Thanks very much for watching. Goodbye from me, goodbye from Highlander 87, and we'll see you in the next one very soon.